Dr. Jaffe, is taking an aspirin a day an effective way in preventing a cardiac event?
The short answer is that almost every doctor has been taught that a baby aspirin a day is a good idea, and the data is now very clear that it was never a good idea. It was based on a false idea, and in fact, it creates as much harm as it reduces. So does it reduce the risk of a, quote, heart attack? Yes, but it increases the risk of bleeding from the intestines. It increases the probability that if someone has a stroke, it will be worse because of the anticoagulant effects of aspirin. And why do we give a baby aspirin a day? Because there was a brilliant investigator named John Vane who thought that you could selectively inhibit a specific source of activation without inhibiting the source of relaxation at the molecular level. And it was a brilliant idea, but it was fatally flawed. It was fatally flawed because only a few people are hypercoagulable. Only a few people have blood that clots too much or too fast. Now, for them, a baby aspirin a day might be a good idea unless you want to get to the cause, the reason why they're having the hypercoagulation, which is what I would prefer to do. And I was a coagulationist, as you know, before I was an immunologist. And the short answer, and there's a lot to be said about this subject because it has been close to medical truth. That is, we reached a consensus that heart attacks were caused by blood clots. Spoiler alert, mostly they're not. That's another subject. We reached a conclusion that because a small fraction of people, about 1 in 20, was actually hypercoagulable because of intestinal problems, because of immune problems, because of neurochemical problems, because of emotional problems. Instead of testing, which is expensive, instead of being comprehensive, which is what I recommend, to get to the cause and resolve the cause so that you don't have an aspirin deficiency. More importantly, aspirin works by inhibiting an essential human function. When collagen, a structural protein that makes up your bones and joints, and it actually, at a molecular level, tells cells how to orient. Very important, collagen. When flowing blood sees collagen, for a variety of reasons, it should put platelets on the collagen, protect the site, and the platelets induce a healing response that John Vane did not know about way back when, but that my group in the 1970s and others since have really documented. So the short and long answer is, an aspirin a day does not keep the doctor away. In fact, it invites the doctor in the hospital. Now, an apple a day may keep the doctor away. That's another subject. But the answer is, you do not have an aspirin deficiency. I have successfully gotten many people off an aspirin a day because they documented that they were not at risk and they did not have an aspirin deficiency. They were not hypercoagulable. And all aspirin did in those people is raise the risk and reduce the healing. Now, it's called the immune defense and repair system because it's responsible for defense and repair. When you inhibit an essential function of that, the interaction between platelets and healing, that's not a good value. That's not what we preach in terms of evoking healing responses and removing obstacles to cure. In fact, in that sense, an aspirin a day is an obstacle to cure. And so if you follow our advice, evoke healing responses, remove obstacles to recovery, have enough of the essential nutrients that your body cannot make, you have to take those in through diet and supplements, and then know that you're doing the right thing in light of the latest evidence. Now, this is a point of view that many of us who are specialists in coagulation have had for a long time, but now the evidence is getting clearer and clearer. Long-term studies showing an aspirin a day increases net risk, does not protect enough to be daily advice. Now go back to your average doctor, knowing that it takes 20 to 30 years from the time something is believed to be true by medicine and disproven by science, it takes 20 to 30 years before the average practicing doctor changes their mind or their advice. So be sure you're talking to a doctor who knows the latest information, They will assure you you don't have an aspirin deficiency and you do not need a baby aspirin a day.